Her hand was already on the doorknob when I said it. Not yelled. Said. Calm. Final. Go ahead. But the moment you walk out that door, our marriage is over. And you're not coming back. She didn't flinch. She didn't even turn around. She just tightened her grip on the strap of her oversized beige tote, the one that magically appeared the day after I asked if she was seeing someone else, and exhaled through her nose like I was the annoying voice on a GPS she'd muted weeks ago. The doorknob turned. I blinked first. She stepped out into the hallway. Click. Door closed. I stood there in socks, holding a ceramic mug full of cold tea I hadn't realized I was still holding, staring at the place where her shadow had just been. A shadow. That's what she'd become. Quiet. Elusive. And now gone. I didn't run after her. Not because I was strong. Because I was frozen. I knew she wouldn't turn back. I think she wanted me to beg, one last power trip. One last ego boost. Instead, I stared at the blinking light on the Wi-Fi router. The silence was deafening. And then I noticed it. Her phone was still charging on the kitchen counter. Not her usual one, her second one. The one she swore was for work stuff. The one she never let out of her sight. I didn't plan to check it. I didn't even want to. But my hands moved before my brain did. No password. Just a swipe. And right there, open like a confession in a church pew, a string of messages. From a number saved as Vic L. No emojis. No pet names. Just vulgarity. Cold, precise, 3 a.m. vulgarity. And photos. I dropped the phone on the counter so hard the screen cracked. Then I laughed. Actually laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I'd spent 6 years defending her to everyone. My brother, my co-workers, even her own sister. And now, here I was, in an empty kitchen, with her second phone, shattered, screen still glowing, vibrating with a new message. He won't do anything. He never does. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even sit down. I just paced. Kitchen to hallway. Hallway to living room. Living room to the door. I kept staring at that phone, like it would apologize if I looked at it long enough. The cracked screen, still lit, still warm, like it was mocking me. Every vibration felt like a slap. Every time his name popped up, Vic L., my stomach turned. Who was he? When did this start? Was it someone I knew? Was it someone I shook hands with? The messages didn't sound like the beginning of anything. They sounded like the middle. Like I'd been living in a side plot while she starred in a different story altogether. And the worst part? She didn't even bother to hide it well. No attempt to delete anything. No fake names. No coded language. Just raw, open disloyalty, like she didn't care if I saw it or not. Or maybe she wanted me to. Maybe that's why she left it behind. A silent middle finger on her way out the door. Around 4:30 a.m., I finally sat down. Not on the couch. On the floor. Next to the fridge, like a man who got mugged in his own home. I opened the phone again. There were hundreds of messages, most of them late night. Photos, jokes, plans. Plans to meet. Plans that clearly had already happened. I scrolled further. Flights, receipts, hotel confirmations. A digital trail of betrayal, time-stamped with the same nights she told me she was staying late for month-end reports. She was in San Diego with him last month. I thought she was with her aunt who just had surgery. She wasn't. Her aunt was never even in the hospital. The lie was so lazy, I almost admired the audacity. The hotel reservation was under both their names. He even paid the deposit. I saw the confirmation email in her inbox, sitting between an Amazon order and a spam ad for teeth whitening. Then came the photo I can't unsee. Not explicit, that would almost be easier. No, it was worse. It was her and him at some rooftop bar, laughing. He had his arm around her. She was looking up at him, eyes closed, mid-laugh, leaning into his chest like it was the safest place in the world. I know that look. I used to live in that look. And there was a caption. Can't wait to do this every weekend. Every weekend. Not a fling. Not a mistake. A plan. A replacement. I should have been angry. Furious. But all I felt was humiliation. Like I was the last guest at a party that ended hours ago, still clinging to the idea that I was welcome. I thought about calling her. About screaming. About confronting her. But what would that even do? She made her choice. And worse, she knew I wouldn't fight back. Because she was right. I never do. By the time the sun came up, I had gone through everything on that phone. Every message, every photo, every calendar reminder. I even checked her ride history. She'd been using a second Uber account tied to a different card, one I didn't even know she had. I kept thinking, how long do you have to practice being someone else before it becomes effortless? Because she wore that second life like it was tailored for her. And then I found him. Not just a name this time. A face. Vic Langston, 43, divorced, regional operations manager for a logistics firm based in Sacramento. I recognized the name from a Zoom meeting she once had on speaker. I even joked back then, sounds like a guy who owns a boat and overuses cologne. She laughed. Now I realize that laugh probably meant, if only you knew. I found his LinkedIn, his Instagram. He had a bio that said, no time for drama, just vibes and travel. Of course he did. His feed was filled with expensive brunches, gym selfies, and motivational quotes in black and white. Exactly the kind of guy she swore she wasn't into. Too cocky, she used to say. Not my type. And now she's clinging to him like he's the last lifeboat off a sinking ship. It made me think, was I ever her type? I looked at myself in the mirror that morning and couldn't recognize the man staring back. Puffy eyes, last night's shirt, hair flattened on one side. I looked like a ghost trying to blend in with the living. No wonder she left. No wonder she didn't even argue. I wasn't a threat. I was a routine. A walking to-do list. A good man in theory, but not in the way that makes your heart race when your phone buzzes. Later that morning, I went to our bedroom. It still smelled like her. A mix of coconut shampoo and something expensive I never could pronounce. Her side of the closet was half empty. She didn't take everything. Just enough to make it clear she wasn't coming back for a while. Maybe ever. She left behind the wedding album. Left the necklace I gave her for our 5th anniversary. Left the souvenir mug from our honeymoon in Banff, still sitting on her nightstand with a lip print dried along the rim. I sat on the bed, holding that mug, and finally allowed myself to sob. Not the cinematic, single-tear kind of cry. The ugly kind. The kind where your chest tightens, and you make sounds you didn't know your body could make. The kind where it's not even sadness anymore. It's the grief of becoming invisible to someone you built your life around. I didn't text her, didn't call, but I did message Vic. I don't know what I expected to get out of it. Maybe I just wanted him to know that I knew, that I existed, that I wasn't just some footnote in their story. I didn't threaten him. I wasn't even angry. I wrote, hey, I'm Marin's husband. Just thought you should know she left her second phone at home. That's all. He didn't reply. He didn't even read it. Instead, 5 minutes later, I got a message from an unknown number. Don't contact him again. We're handling things like adults. Please respect our decision. It was her. She didn't even bother to pretend anymore. That was the moment the switch finally flipped. Not to rage. Not to revenge. To resolve. She thought I would just fade out like I always did. But this time, she underestimated me. And I was about to make sure that when she looked back, she'd regret the moment she reached for that door. By noon that day, I had thrown away every piece of clothing she left behind that still smelled like him. I didn't want to play the role of the wounded husband anymore. I'd done that too many times. The quiet apologies, the pleading, the desperate little compromises that made her life easier while mine became smaller. But the truth is, long before she walked out that door, I had already started losing parts of myself. Not because she asked me to, but because I thought that's what love meant. Shrinking until you could fit into someone else's shadow. I used to write music. Stupid songs mostly. Acoustic, soft, the kind you'd hear in coffee shops when nobody's really listening. I stopped writing 3 years ago because she called it a nice hobby, in the same tone you'd use for a kid who brings you a crayon drawing of a tree with purple leaves. I sold my guitar to pay off a surprise vacation to Tahoe she never even thanked me for. And I gave up on finishing my novel because she said, it's cute that you're still chasing that. She forgot who I was before I became her husband. Or maybe she never knew. And that's what made it hurt worse. Not just that she betrayed me, but that she never actually missed me. She missed the idea of me. The safety net. The guy who did the dishes, replaced the air filters, remembered her mom's birthday, picked her up from the airport with flowers even when her flight was delayed 6 hours. But she didn't want me anymore. She wanted noise. Excitement. The vibes and travel. Guy who used gym mirrors like confessionals and quoted Gary Vee like scripture. I thought about telling her family. Her mom always liked me. Her brother and I used to golf together. I even helped her dad refinance his mortgage last fall. But I didn't. Because deep down, I knew it wouldn't change anything. She'd spin it, twist it, frame me as controlling, obsessive, a guy who just couldn't handle her growth. And they'd believe her. because she always knew how to play the victim better than I ever learned to be the villain. But here's what she forgot. I work with machines for a living, and machines don't lie. I still had access to our shared iCloud. She must have forgotten to unlink it. Or maybe she thought I wouldn't even know how. But I did. And there it was. Her calendar, her synced photos, her Uber receipts. I saw it all. Even her new hotel reservation for next Friday. Not in San Diego this time. Phoenix. She booked it under her maiden name. Cute. But what really caught my eye wasn't the trip. It was the event invite. A wedding. Not ours, obviously. A co-worker's. And she RSVP'd +1. I wasn't angry. I was insulted. She was parading this affair in public like it was something earned, not stolen. She was going to walk into that wedding in a new dress and pretend this whole thing was a fresh start, like I didn't exist. Like I was just a cautionary tale she left behind. And I couldn't stop thinking, does he even know who she really is? Does Vic know how she used to cry in the shower because she thought she wasn't pretty enough to be wanted without effort? That she had night terrors? That she once faked a job interview just so she could sit alone in the park for an hour and feel free? Does he know she doesn't like pancakes but pretends to for the photo ops? No, he doesn't. But I do. And I was done being erased. That wedding? It was about to be the last peaceful public event she attended with him. Not because I was going to cause a scene. No screaming. No drama. But because I had a different plan. And it started with a message I wasn't supposed to send. I sat on the floor of our bedroom with her cracked second phone in one hand and my old laptop balanced on the other knee. The room was so quiet. I could hear the soft tick of the wall clock, the same one she insisted we hang even though it never kept time right. I hated that clock. I hated that I didn't take it down sooner. I hated how much in this house still looked like us when there was no us left. She thought I wouldn't do anything. I always used to tell her that fighting was exhausting, that I didn't like causing problems, that it was easier to let people be who they are. And for years, that made me easy to cheat on, emotionally, then physically, then entirely. But this time, I wasn't trying to fight her. I was trying to finish it. And I had one advantage she didn't know about. She reused passwords. I remembered the one she used for our wedding website, the one where guests RSVP'd and left messages like, "You two are meant to be." I tried it on her email. It worked. My hands were shaking. Not from guilt, from adrenaline. Like I was in a place I didn't belong, surrounded by pieces of her new life she hadn't fully built yet. There were emails to her lawyer. She'd drafted separation terms, polite ones, of course. Mutual, amicable, fair division. She was already painting the breakup as clean. A mutual drift, not a betrayal. There was also an invoice for a couple's retreat in Arizona. 2 guests, booked 2 weeks ago. I forwarded it to my personal email. Then I deleted the confirmation from hers. I wasn't planning to use it against her. Not in court, not with her family, not even with her job. But I was collecting. Not evidence, truth. For me. For the version of me that sat on the floor while she danced through hotel lobbies with a man who didn't even know she snored when she was anxious. And that's when I saw the thread. It wasn't to Vic. It was to someone named Alicia. A name I didn't recognize. Dozens of emails. Shared Google Docs. Dropbox folders. Photos. They weren't sexual. They were worse. They were happy. The kind of happy that's planned. Coordinated. Marin and Vic smiling in front of rental cabins. Marin and Vic in matching Halloween costumes. Marin holding up a "Cheers to New Beginnings" sign while Vic toasted with champagne in a glass I recognized from our kitchen set. But it wasn't the photos that ruined me. It was the dates. She had started seeing him before our anniversary dinner last year. I remember that dinner so well. I made her pasta from scratch, lit candles, put on her favorite playlist. She said she was too tired for dessert. Said she had a headache. We watched a show in silence and fell asleep back to back. And now I knew that just a day earlier, she was with him. In the mountains. Wearing a red sweater I bought her for Christmas. Everything burned. But I didn't scream. I didn't call her. Instead, I created a folder. Labeled it for her. I started uploading the photos. Not with anger. With precision. Every message. Every lie. Every receipt. Every confirmation number. Her hotel bookings. Her dual Uber rides. Her excuses. Her RSVP to the wedding with Vic. And when I finished, I wrote one sentence in the email and scheduled it to send next Friday at noon. Exactly when they'd be at that wedding. Smile for the pictures, Marin. You're going to want a memory of the last day someone thought you were honest. I closed the laptop, set it on the floor. Then I sat there in silence and let the tears come. But not because I was weak. Because I knew she'd finally see what I looked like when I stopped begging. Friday came too fast. I didn't leave the house. Didn't shower. I just waited, sitting in the same shirt I'd worn the day before, eyes glued to the clock in the corner of my laptop screen like it was counting down to something explosive. At 11:57 a.m., my heart was hammering so hard I could barely hear the second hand ticking on that awful wall clock. At 12 o'clock sharp, the email sent. No fireworks. No alarms. Just a quiet whoosh of my outbox, and then stillness. I pictured her at the wedding, in something soft and pastel, her makeup perfectly done, her hairstyle to look effortless but not too try-hard. Probably holding his arm, probably already pretending they were the golden couple. I imagined them laughing with strangers, her introducing him as her partner, like he hadn't shattered someone else's life to get there. And then, maybe while cutting into a catered salad or sipping a glass of Chardonnay, her phone buzzed. Subject line, for her. It was a folder link. No password. No explanation. Just a time-stamped archive of every lie she ever tried to bury under fake smiles and weekend getaways. And somewhere between the photos and the Uber rides, the RSVP confirmations, and the private DMs, she'd find the worst one. A screenshot of our anniversary dinner reservations last year, sitting side by side with a receipt from a mountain cabin 2 states away, dated the exact same day. The caption I added beneath that one just said, I lit candles. You lit a match. I didn't know how long it would take her to see it. I didn't know if she'd even react. For all I knew, she'd delete it and go right back to clinking champagne with Vic and talking about destination apartments and fresh starts. But I also knew something she didn't. Guilt doesn't need a reaction to exist. It festers quietly, privately, and it shows up in the strangest places. Like the way she'll feel a twinge in her chest next time someone asks about her past. Or how she'll over-explain when telling people how she and Vic met. Or how, years from now, she might open her inbox, see that email again, and feel her stomach twist, not because of what she did, but because she knows I saw all of it and never gave her the satisfaction of yelling. I didn't expect revenge. I just wanted truth. Real, raw, undeniable truth. And what I didn't expect was what came next. At 2:13 p.m., I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. Then I got a text. Lol, I saw the email. Can we talk? Please. I need to explain. It was her. Marin. I didn't answer. I stared at the screen until it went dark again. 2 minutes later, another text came through, shorter this time. It's not what you think. Funny. That's exactly what cheaters say when it's exactly what you think. Another call. I declined it. Then silence. For hours. Until 6:42 p.m., when someone else texted me. Unknown number again. I didn't know she was married. I'm sorry, man. I didn't know. Vic. The man who'd unknowingly helped her detonate our life, and then had the audacity to show remorse when the smoke started choking him. I didn't reply. Not because I forgave him. Because I didn't care what he knew anymore. He'd seen the truth, and that was enough. Whatever came next, between them, between her and her reputation, wasn't my mess to clean up. For once, I wasn't holding the broom. I was letting the pieces stay broken. And that night, for the first time in months, I finally slept without waking up in a cold sweat. Not because I won, but because she lost me the moment she thought I was too weak to walk away. I didn't expect her to come to the house. But when I heard the knock, I knew it was her. Not a neighbor. Not a delivery guy. Her knock was always soft, hesitant, like she didn't want to wake the walls. For a second, I thought about pretending I wasn't home. But then I remembered something she once said in a fight. You don't have the guts to face anything. She was wrong. I just never had a reason to. Until now. I opened the door, and there she was. Marin. Same eyes, same scent, same posture, but she looked smaller. Not physically. Something in her had collapsed, like she wasn't holding her story together anymore. Her mouth opened like she had rehearsed what to say, but the words didn't come. I didn't invite her in. I just stood there. She said, Can we talk? I nodded once and stepped aside. She walked into the living room like a guest in a stranger's house, eyes scanning the furniture she once picked out, hands brushing the couch cushions like they might reject her touch. She didn't sit. Neither did I. Then came the monologue. It wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I was lonely. I didn't feel seen. You were always here, but not really here. You stopped asking me how I felt. You stopped trying. It was like watching someone shovel dirt into their own grave while explaining why the soil was too dry. I didn't interrupt. She went on and on about her guilt, about how she thought I didn't love her anymore, about how Vic made her feel alive again, about how she never planned to leave me until I gave her the ultimatum. That part made me laugh, quietly, bitterly. I didn't leave you, she said. You told me to go. I looked at her for a long time before answering. No, I told you what would happen if you did. You chose it anyway. She blinked, like that thought had never occurred to her, like she truly believed this whole time I ended it. I didn't want to lose you, she whispered. But you didn't want to choose me either, I said. You just wanted me to be there in case he dropped you. She froze. I walked over to the table and picked up a folder I had printed, a hard copy of everything I'd sent her digitally. I handed it to her without a word. She didn't open it. She just stared at it in her hands like it was radioactive. You don't have to take me back, she said. I know I ruined everything, but I want to fix what I can. I want to be honest. From now on. I sat down on the edge of the couch, exhausted, more than anything. You already were honest, I replied. That's what made it so easy to let go. You just didn't know I was listening. She looked like she might cry. I didn't move to comfort her, not out of cruelty, but because I'd comforted her too many times when I was the one bleeding. Then she asked the question I knew was coming. Is there any part of you that still loves me? I could have lied. I could have said yes and watched her crumble, or no and watched her run. But I just said, there's a part of me that loved who you used to be, and there's a part of me that hates who I became trying to keep you. She didn't answer. She left the folder on the table, turned around, and walked to the door. I didn't follow her. I didn't say goodbye. But just as her hand touched the doorknob, I said one thing, softly, calmly, finally. If you walk out this time, don't knock again. The locks will be changed. She hesitated, then walked out without turning around. No tears, no begging, just silence. And it was the most peaceful sound I'd heard in years. It's been 3 months. The locks are changed. The furniture is different. I donated the rug she loved and replaced the couch with something that doesn't sink in the middle like our marriage did. I even painted the living room. Nothing drastic, just enough to remind me this is a new space, not a shrine to who we used to be. She hasn't reached out again. Not directly. I heard from her sister, a polite text asking if Marin could come by and pick up a box of old college notebooks she left in the attic. I left the box outside the front door with a sticky note. Take what you need. Please don't knock. She didn't knock. She took the box and left a note of her own. I hope one day you find someone who sees you the way you always try to see me. I read it once, then threw it out. Not out of spite, just because I didn't need it anymore. That's the thing no one tells you about betrayal. The wound doesn't stay open forever. It scabs, then scars. And then one day you wake up and realize the pain has dulled into something manageable. Not gone, but livable. Like a faint ache in the joints before it rains. These days, I sleep with the windows open. I cook meals for myself again. I stopped skipping lunch. I even bought a new guitar. Cheap one. Doesn't stay in tune. But I play anyway. I wrote my first song in years last week. Not about her. About me. About starting over. About breathing again. I've also been running. Not from anything, but towards something. I don't know what exactly. Maybe just the version of myself I abandoned in order to become someone else's idea of a husband. It feels good. Heavy on the lungs, light on the heart. And maybe the best part? I don't check my phone every 10 minutes anymore. I don't wonder where she is. I don't scroll through old texts. I don't imagine alternate timelines where she chose me. Because in this one, the only one that matters, she didn't. And it saved me. I thought the worst day of my life was when she walked out that door. But it turns out it was the best. Because she left me no choice but to find out who I am when I'm no longer trying to be loved by someone who couldn't even look me in the eye when she lied. I'm not perfect. I still have bad days. I still grieve the version of our life I once believed in. But now, when I walk past a mirror, I don't look away. Because I know who's looking back. And for the first time in years, I like him.